Welcome to Baker Dave Presents. My name is Baker Dave. We're here in a working bakery at Johnson Hardwick at Temple University where we feed thousands of students every day. Today I have a very special guest, Dr. Theresa Powell, and she will be sharing with us her recipe, her mother's recipe for sour cream pound cake. Welcome, Dr. Theresa Powell.
Thank you
to the
so
show.
much. Thank you, Baker Dave.
Today, you brought with us your family recipe.
Yes.
What are we doing?
Sour cream pound cake.
Excellent. So what's the story behind that?
The story behind this is my mother was an excellent cook as well as an excellent baker. And for my mom and dad, growing up, they never really had sweets. They rarely had enough food to eat most of the time. So when they got married, at some point, they decided our kids will always have as much food as they want,
right,
and I will always make sure that they have something sweet to eat, no matter what. And that's what they did. So with this sour cream pound cake, it's a little different because my mother was from the old school. You know, get about this much sugar,
right,
and you take about this much salt. So we had to follow her into the kitchen when we were ready for the recipe, and everything she would scoop out or everything she would do, we would have to take it and then
try to measure it.
Yes.
That's my grandmother's the same way.
So that's how this pound cake became a recipe.
So this is the best representation of what she did.
Yes, this is it.
As close as you can get.
As close as we could get at the time.
Right? I'm a huge fan of pound cake.
Are you?
Yeah, it's not too sweet, you know what I mean? It's like filling. It feels like substance, you know what I mean?
It
reminds
really
you of home.
does. It does remind you of home. And this is not the only cake that my mother baked. She baked almost any cake, but this was the easiest cake for her to bake because there were 10 of us growing up.
Right.
And
holy cow, 10 of you?
10 of us.
Wow.
And guess what number I am?
1?
No.
You're number 1 to me.
Well, thank you. And I was number 1 to her too, and to my daddy. But I'm number 9.
Wow.
And so there are
one of the
2
youngest.
girls. Yes. And I have a younger brother, so there were 2 girls. And no matter what, both my parents worked. And anytime, if we ran out of cake on a Tuesday night, as she was making our lunches, then she would make another cake. Make another, and this was an easy cake for her to make.
I was looking at the recipe. It's like 6 ingredients, 7. I mean, it's really easy.
It really is, and it's not difficult, and that's what made it, because my mom could just take whatever it was, mix it up.
These are ingredients you always have.
Yes.
This is not.
Yes.
You don't have to run to the store to get something at the last minute.
No, not at all. And because there was so many of us, we bought everything in bulk. Because you can imagine.
And that was before Sam's Club,
That
right?
was before Sam's Club. That was when flour was still in a bag. Remember how flour used to come in a sack? In a cloth sack?
No, I don't, but.
You are kidding.
No, sorry.
Well, flour used to come.
But I get it in sacks now. I get them in 50-pound bags.
Okay, well, that's almost 25-pound bag. This was a sack. And then when you used all the flour, you could use the sack for something else. And so we bought sugar.
Oh, like, would you make like dresses and stuff out of them, or?
Oh, not dresses, but we could quilt out of it.
Oh,
you could do other things with it. Absolutely. So it wasn't just you bought this sack of flour. We were into recycling long
your
before
green
it
way,
became.
yeah, exactly.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we kept sugar in a big can like this. And
wow.
So everything had to be in bulk because my parents had to feed us.
Right. It's a different time.
A different time.
For sure.
Different time.
All right, so let's get started on this.
Sure.
One of the things I like to do, and you'll see in all of our shows, is like this recipe here. People have been baking and cooking for thousands of years, way before KitchenAids and electric mixers. So I'd like to keep everything as simple as possible to show you that you can do it at home just as easily. That you don't have to have all the expensive equipment.
No.
This can all be mixed by hand. It's going to be very simple. So why don't you show me what we do first?
Okay, but I do want to add, hand mixers are now about $19. so if you have an extra $19, and if you wait till they put them on sale.
It's way easier, I'm sure, but.
it's easier with a hand mixer, but it's not impossible, not at all. Okay, so the first thing you always want to do with all the cakes that I have ever made is you cream your butter and your sugar until it is light and fluffy. So I can just take that. I have that.
I found that just even softening the butter, you don't have to cream it quite as long because one of the main things you're doing when you're creaming the butter and sugar is you're using the sugar to help break the butter down.
Yes.
So by softening the butter, which is what I've done here, you don't have to cream it quite as long.
And for me, I'm just going to add a little sugar at a time because it's easier to cream. And I'm sorry,
No. I don't want you to. I think it's easier after you get once you get it started.
Once you get it started,
For sure.
it is easier.
Could have probably softened it a little bit more.
But don't forget, for $19.99, you can have.
We're gonna have a special Dr.
mixer.
Powell hand mixer coming out. That line will be coming out soon, right?
I hope so, Baker Dave.
Okay, so this is, like I said, this is pretty simple.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
Do you tend to add your seasonings and stuff in the beginning?
No, I always mix my seasonings in with my flour.
With your flour?
Yes.
Excellent. I'll
Yes.
do that right now. So that'll go in, and you would normally sift those together. We're gonna.
Yes. Oh, you can do it just
Sift
like
it.
that. We sift it. That's
Excellent.
right. Now,
Okay, so
once this butter and sugar is creamed, the next thing you want to do is add eggs. Now, my mother taught us my mother didn't really teach us because I wasn't that interested in cooking or baking. So I always used the excuse that I had to study. And so my brothers did more of the cooking and baking than I ever did. But I do love it. And so when I went to college, it was that telephone call that you make. He said, Mama, how do you make this? Or how do you make that? So with your eggs, she taught us to add them one at a time.
Okay.
And beating after each addition. So what I'm going to do, Baker Dave, is it okay to put them all in?
I was just going to say, what I've done here is, the reason you oftentimes will see to bring your eggs to room temperature is just so that you can just dump them all in. I brought these eggs up to room temperature. When you add a cold egg to butter, room temperature butter or softened butter, it causes the butter to seize up. Which is why, actually makes it harder to work with at that point.
Right.
Which is why oftentimes they'll say one at a time, because then you're bringing that temperature of the butter up to meet the temperature of the eggs.
Got it.
In culinary terms, you're tempering it.
Oh,
you're
okay.
bringing two things that are either different temperatures or different thicknesses, and you're incorporating them to the same consistency or temperature slowly.
Well,
so
that's
as not
good
to cause
know.
it to.
That's good to know because I didn't know that. I just knew that that's what she would always do, and that's what she said.
So as you can see with this, it's coming out pretty smooth because the butter was warm and the eggs were also room temperature at that point.
Right. And when I do it at home, I always bring everything to room temperature.
It makes it easier.
Makes it so much easier. Now, then I put in my flavoring.
Your lemon?
Yep.
We have some. I know you probably use an extract. It's a liquid extract. I didn't have that today, but I do have a lemon paste, which is still going to give it the same type of flavor,
sure,
but this is more of a baking.
Oh, that's
This is more
fine.
professional.
I love it.
It's hard for you to get it out of there. I should have.
No.
Sour cream?
Now, sour cream is our last ingredient. Yes?
Very important.
So then, right now, we're going to add our flour mixture. So all of the dry ingredients
This has
have
the
been
salt,
mixed.
it has baking soda, and flour.
You got it.
Excellent. It won't miss that little bit there. That's what's
No. Always know that it's okay. Baking is like being a scientist. You can always improvise, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, Baker Dave, I need a little muscle power here.
I can help you with that.
Again, $19.99.
Okay. and then we would add sour cream at the end.
I'll add the sour cream at the very end. Yep.
I'm going to use this spoon here. It's going to go there anyways. And that's a cup of sour cream that gets added
Yes.
in. I thought this recipe was very interesting that a lot of times with pound cakes you have milk or you have some other liquid in there, but this is, all the liquid that's in there is the sour cream and the eggs.
Right.
This is probably one of the simplest recipes I've ever seen for a pound cake.
Well, when you have children and you're making more desserts anytime it's needed, it does come in handy to have a simple recipe for ingredients that you will always have around the house. But this is not the only cake. My mother would make all kinds of cakes, pies, cookies,
I bet this
name
was
it.
great for birthdays, huh?
Oh no, no. On your
This isn't a birthday cake? Oh, my mistake.
No. On your birthday, because there were so many of us.
This is the everyday cake.
This is the everyday cake.
Okay.
So on your birthday, you had an opportunity to order whatever kind of cake you wanted. Mine was chocolate cake with chocolate icing.
Order it from
Order
the bakery?
it from Mom.
Oh, okay.
No.
I was going to say, I
And
didn't know.
then she would fix your favorite dish to go along with it. So mine was always chocolate cake with chocolate icing, mashed potatoes, fried chicken. Sometimes I would do rice. But, green beans, those were things. So she would make whatever you wanted for dinner. And then it was your special birthday. Because when you have
You
those...
have 10 kids, you want to make everyone feel special.
You want to make
at least
everyone
once a
feel
year.
special. Absolutely. And even my brother, who was born on Christmas Eve,
Holy cow.
he had an opportunity to order his cake and order his dinner. Now, the number 7 brother wanted pound cake, which we could never figure out. So we would always sing to him, "Happy birthday with pound cake." Because we thought,
We have it all the
what's a
time. Why
pound
do you want
cake?
pound cake,
Why do you
right?
want
That's the
pound
everyday cake.
Yes, so it was an everyday cake. But even the everyday cakes, Mama would sometimes do a chocolate cake or German chocolate cake or whatever. So, but this was a staple. We always had pound cake. And my mother not only fed us, she fed everybody in the
neighborhood,
neighborhood,
right?
everybody at the church, everybody who wanted to eat.
She
So
had an
here you
open
go.
door policy, right? People walking in and out all the time.
Absolutely, they were.
Okay, so what we're going to do too is I noticed, I just thought this would be a little bonus.
Oh, excuse me. Sorry, but I have to keep this
I
close.
fully understand.
Okay.
So one of the things I noticed is that normally, and this cake, it has, like most cakes, to grease and flour the pan.
Yes.
Right. So I thought as a bonus, I would demonstrate here a baker's technique.
Okay.
We make what's called pan grease.
Okay.
So
Pan
we like to make
grease.
things easy. So I actually mix butter, oil, and flour together, and just wipe the pan with the whole thing already mixed together. So I'm going to show you that real quick.
Oh, please.
So what we have here, and for baking, it's equal weights because we do everything in weights. But for today, I actually measured it out for you to make it a little easier.
Okay.
So we have what would be 1 stick of butter,
Great.
which is 4 ounces. We have a half a cup of oil, which is 4
4
ounces.
ounces. Okay, I got it.
And we have basically a cup of flour, which is 4.5 ounces almost. Because
Okay.
a cup of flour doesn't weigh as much as liquid.
Right.
So you would take the oil and the butter and you mix that first. Real simple. And then you can keep this for like weeks. I mean, it doesn't go bad.
But do you refrigerate it?
You can, or not.
But
I mean,
you don't have to.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's at some point, obviously, butter will go rancid,
Right.
but it takes
A
weeks.
long time
It
for
takes,
that to happen.
at room temperature, it takes a long time, and then in the refrigerator, it takes months. I mean,
Oh,
it's,
wow. Okay.
And then the flour, and then, like I said, what that does is it creates this like paste
Oh, wow.
that already has the flour mixed in, so you don't have to worry about rolling the flour around or.
Right. And for all the modern bakers, they have all these sprays that you can use now that have flour and butter already
I'm
mixed
personally
together.
not a fan.
I'm not either because sometimes it
They
gives
always
it a
get
taste.
stuck. I'm not even worried about that. The flour, every time, and this is just me. I'm not. It's just me. But every time I've used the ones that have the flour in it, they don't spray out for it. They spray out for like half a second, and then all of a sudden it's like it gets clogged up with the flour.
Well, Baker Dave, you have to shake it. Now,
well,
it,
that's too
it
much
works
work
for me.
I'm not doing that. So
He's not doing that, but he's not spending $19.99 for this hand mixer. Okay. And then you brush it in the pan?
And then you just brush it in the pan, and it's like you've greased it and floured it all in one motion.
Oh, wow.
It's especially good, things like this is a bundt.
Right.
I'm sorry, we are doing this in a bundt cake, right?
Yes, we are.
Have you done it in other shapes?
Oh, yes. The old,
Like
my
a
mother
loaf
did it.
or a round
yes.
or...
And, you know, in the old days, they had a pound cake. It's round at the bottom. The sides came up like, you know, the sides would come up. I still have my mother's pound cake pan.
Round at the bottom and the sides?
Yeah. It's round and it would be smaller at the bottom, but then it gets larger as it comes up with a tube in the middle.
Oh, okay. Right.
Not an angel food.
Not as high. Smaller?
Oh.
Or just as high?
Just as high.
Okay. Mm-hmm. But not the angel food one?
Oh, no.
Different pan?
No, different pan.
Does it plan out a little bit?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't use those very often, I gotta say.
Well, most people don't now anymore because they want the fancy look of this.
This is this is an eating cake. This is a snacking cake almost, right?
Oh, right. I see you're putting that in there, but you're not being real careful and making sure every inch of the pan is covered. So this is a great idea. So I'll have to take it home and try it. And if my cake sticks, I'm gonna make
You're gonna blame me.
You got it.
I'll come and get it out for you. Okay?
You're gonna have to.
Okay, so
That's great.
we've done that. Set that
Okay.
aside.
And now we're going to fill the cake pan.
Oh, and the flavoring, I don't know if we mentioned it. We were just saying we put this is there's a little bit of the lemon paste.
Lemon.
Was it lemon?
Mhm.
Just to make sure that
Lemon paste.
could you use a different, like if you wanted an almond flavor, you could use an
You
almond
can use
flavoring
an
instead?
almond. Yes. The one thing that I don't use in a pound cake is vanilla flavor. Because when I have vanilla flavor in a pound cake, to me it tastes, you can taste the eggs even more.
That's interesting.
I think you can. So
Okay.
I put vanilla in a chocolate cake, but I wouldn't put it in a pound cake.
Interesting. I think vanilla should be in everything. That's just me. I love
Okay.
vanilla. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and put this in the oven.
Absolutely.
My huge revolving decorator.
I wish I had one of those at home.
You wanna take a ride?
I don't wish I was in one.
Oh, okay.
just
I didn't
wish
know if you were feeling
had
cold.
one.
Okay.
Oh no, I'm fine. Thank you. Oh wow. We're gonna bake this for 1.5 hours, right?
Yep. At 325.
325, because a cake this thick and dense, you want to give it an opportunity to bake all the way through, right, Baker Dave?
Yes, you do.
All right.
Yes, you do. It smells like it's about ready.
That's the smell that I remember growing up, because when we would smell that cake, it didn't matter what we were doing, we would all rush into the house,
You're out playing or
playing or doing whatever, and it was really the neighbors' kids that would rush into the house,
Right.
and we would come behind them.
I'm guessing their parents didn't bake quite as often as
No.
your mother did, right?
No, not at all. And most of their mothers weren't great bakers or good cooks. So my mother always had a house full of kids, our friends, whoever. Oh, that looks delicious
How's
coming
that
out
look?
of there. I love it. All right.
Okay, so we're just gonna.
Wow. Perfect.
See how easy that comes out?
Oh my goodness, yes. That is perfect, Baker Dave.
So, how did you finish it then?
Well, most of the time, this was the done deal.
That's it?
Take it out, and that was it.
Couldn't wait for icing to come out.
No, and because my mother would allow us to eat a cake right out of the oven if that's what we wanted to
That's
do.
the best time to eat it.
Most people's parents were like, no, we have to save it. My mother and father did not believe in saving food. If you want it now, you got it. So
It didn't spoil your dinner?
no. Are you kidding? When you have that many kids living in the house, they still have to feed us.
Right.
And most of the time sometimes it would be at night or very early in the
Right.
morning. But sometimes if you want to make it a little fancy, if you were taking it somewhere for someone, you would take powdered sugar and just put it in a sifter and then just kind of shake it over like that.
We can do that.
Okay, let's
Since
do
this
it.
is fancy.
This is fancy.
This isn't just,
This is
sitting around
fancy.
the house.
Yes.
So
because it brings
I have a
that-
huge sifter. You see this, right? It's
Oh,
a
I
little bigger
do.
than.
But that'll be fine.
It's what happens when you.
Oh, wow. Yes.
Perfect?
Yes, perfect. And if you want to put a little glaze on it, you could do that too. But it doesn't need that. It really doesn't.
I wouldn't think it would.
So I think
Did you want to try a
powdered
piece?
sugar- Of course. Are you kidding?
I mean, we could save it for
This-
later. You know, it's fancy. It's ready to go somewhere.
No.
Maybe go to a
We're
party
gonna
later.
Try,
You sure?
No, we're going to try this cake now.
All right. Is that your neighbors coming in?
Oh, there
Down
they
the hall?
come. There they come. Hurry up. Make it happen. Oh, this brings back so many wonderful memories to me. Oh, Baker
That looks
Day.
like that crumb in there. That looks beautiful. I love the way the look of it even.
Okay, and I'm one of those picky kind of people. I don't bite off a whole piece of cake. I just
Look at you all proper.
Uh-huh.
I'm not. I'm so not proper.
Delicious. This is a great job.
So moist.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And you can taste the butter.
No, yeah, you totally can. This cake is delicious.
I love it, and I'm telling you, all of my mother's sisters, well, except one, there's always one, were excellent cooks and they were great bakers. So I come from a long, long line of those folks. Now my sister will cook dinner and I will do the baking. So don't ask me what's for dinner because I don't know. But if you want to know what's for dessert, I can tell you.
got that.
We got that.
I shouldn't keep eating it because we're on camera, but
Why?
I can't stop. It's delicious.
Why? All we need now is some Bluebell vanilla ice cream right out of Texas, and that would be
Texas?
great. Yes.
That's where you're from?
Yes, I'm from Fort Worth, Texas.
Holy cow. It's a long way away.
And one of our favorite ice cream is Bluebell. That's the brand, Bluebell.
Right.
And it comes in all flavors, and it's perfect.
I can imagine.
But if you put Bluebell ice cream on this cake, you are rich.
So you didn't have Bluebell ice cream on your
we
cake
didn't
all the
have-
time?
No, because Bluebell ice cream came along a little later. But
Oh,
we
okay.
had ice cream all the time, homemade ice cream. My daddy would make homemade ice cream. And the joy of that was you get to sit on the freezer because you had to crank it.
Right?
So you put ice.
No electric ice cream maker?
No, not then. Can't get that for $19.99.
No?
But yes, you would. Everybody wanted a chance to sit on it so we could hold it in place so Daddy could crank it. Yep.
Maybe next episode you can come on and we'll make ice cream.
Oh my goodness, you'll never get rid of me then.
Well, thanks again
Oh, thank you
for coming. This is
Thank
awesome.
you. It is
This-
awesome, and I'm eating the
I
rest
hate to
of
say
mine.
this, but it might be better than mine.
I'm glad. 'Cause you know what? The happiest day of my life was when my mother said, "This cake is almost as good as I could do." And then the saddest day of my life when my mother said, "This cake is better than I can do." That's it.
All right, well, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for coming on the show.
You're very welcome, Baker Dave.
One of my favorite temple people, Dr. Powell.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on Baker Dave Presents. I want to again thank Dr. Theresa Powell for bringing her mother's delicious sour cream pound cake recipe. And remember, every recipe has a story. Join us next time on Baker Dave Presents.